Hey guys, it's ExandShadow, and welcome back to Let's Play Banjo-Tooie. In the last part, we did some more exploring of Glitter Gulch Mine, and in this part, we are going to face off against the very face of Satan herself. I'm sorry, I got a little bit heated there, because fuck Canary Mary up her yellow fucking, I don't like Canary Mary, folks. I should just get that out there right now. I think she's a bitch, and she's the worst thing that has ever been made ever since the combination of Hitler and Stalin and Judge Judy. Basically, well, I should say that right now, the mission we're doing right now with Canary Mary isn't that bad. In the grand scheme of things, this Canary Mary mission isn't that bad, but later on in the game, fuck this bitch. Seriously. Fuck her, and she should die, because she's terrible, and I hate her. And yes. Also, she's really creepy looking. She's like a human-looking thing, but she's also a bird. But the fact that she's human-looking is weird, because this is Banjo, and gah. So, for this mini-game, race, whatever the fuck you want to call it, all you have to do is mash the A button. That's all you really need to do. If you've got a turbo controller, make sure you hold on to that for the last level, because you're gonna fucking need it. But, for this mission, all you need to do is mash the A button. You don't need to really wear yourself out. As long as you keep a good rhythm, you know, you don't falter at any point, you really shouldn't have that much trouble. As we're going on a minecart over a specific path, it's the same way each time you try to do it, so you don't really need to worry about, like, moving or anything. It's all on rails. You don't need to worry about any of that. It's just, you know, you mash A until you get to the end, and then if you win, Canary Mary will do her little dumb dance, even though she lost, because, I don't know, she's a masochist? I don't know. So anyway, beating her in the race gets you a Jiggy that's been stuffed God knows where. I like one of the lines that they have right here. Kazooie gets really, really upset that Canary Mary keeps on hiding them in these really disgusting places. Because, I mean, where do these people keep these things? It's just in their, up their rectum, or what? I don't even know. But yeah, that's one of the more easy Jiggies in Glitter Gulch Mine. So, I recommend doing that relatively early on, because you want to get, first off, you need to get Humba's transformation in order to unlock her, and you just want to get all of the transformation stuff out of the way so you can just explore the level normally. But also, it's a very easy mission, and it also leads you to another warp pad that you're going to want to use later on, so, that's good, you know. Basically, it gets exploration of the level done while you're getting something else important done, too. So that's always good. It minimizes backtracking and the like. There's also a Jinjo there, and again, that can be any color. We're not really sure what color it is, but, you know, it could be anything. However, something that you might miss if you're not exploring the level naturally, in this minecart area, the train tracks, there is actually a Jinjo. And normally I don't remember when I normally get this, but for this playthrough, after I raced Canary Mary the first time, I just went back to get it, basically. And with that, we should have 4 out of 4 Jinjos. Yes, we do. So with that, you have all of the Jinjos that you can get in the level on your first run-through. That 5th Jinjo, again, is in the water tower area, and you're going to need to get that when you backtrack after World 4. So that's on the way. That's on the way when you're in World 4, so you don't need to worry about that too much. You can pick that up, no sweat. However, that first race, we are not done with Canary Mary. If you want to get this level's Cheeto page, you're gonna need a racer again. Ugh. Now, the second race with Canary Mary is basically the same as the first one. All you need to do is mash the A button, and then you'll get to the end, no problem. However, it might be considered a little bit harder, but seeing that you really only need to mash this button about as hard as you need to mash it for, like, any given Mario Party minigame, you really shouldn't have too much trouble with it. Again, these early Canary Mary missions, meaning the first 2, they ain't all that bad, you know. It's late in the game. Late in the game. Last world. Fuck this bitch. I mean, seriously. Oh, man. It's so bad, it's to the point where when I see her here, I want to strangle her neck. It's kind of like seeing General White in Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, because you're walking in Petalburg, and you see that fucker. And you've played the game before, so you know he's going to fuck you right up the ass later on. But you can't do anything about it yet, because it's not his time. But eventually, you will be able to bring reckoning upon him and send him to the fiery gates of hell, and it'll be satisfying as shit. I just keep on getting worked up today. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm absolutely fucking... Stay cool, Ted. You're cool. You're fine. You're cool. You're fine. And, yeah, the frame rate's a lot better in this section. The frame rate problems really happen when you're in big open areas in Banjo-Tooie. Glitter Gulch Mine, considering that it's a mine underground, you know, confined space, is usually pretty good about staying on an even frame rate, but in some situations, like, for some reason, playing the cutscene when you beat Canary Mary the first time, that always triggers a lot of slowdown for whatever reason. But some situations, the slowdown can be annoying, but generally, Glitter Gulch Mine is one of the better levels for keeping everything running at a smooth pace. The slowdown... I think the reason why the slowdown doesn't bother me so much is because this is one of the first games I ever played all the way through. Like, when I was a kid, there were 3 games that I would play, well, around the time that this came, before I got the GameCube, there were 3 games I would play non-stop. Paper Mario 64, Pokemon Gold, and Banjo-Tooie. So I think the slowdown doesn't bother me so much because I've been playing this game my whole life and I've just gotten used to it. Most of the time, slowdown just doesn't bother me in games in general, but if you're a graphics whore and that bothers you, then, well, you know, you're gonna want to get the Xbox version of this, is basically what I'm saying. Anywho, remember in the waterfall cavern last part where I messed up landing on that little platform? This is the underwater maze that platform leads to. The way that I got in, the entrance that I went in, when I went in this part, you can open up by blowing up with the detonator. Now, most of the time I don't even bother blowing that thing up because I just get it and get out the way that I came by using the little platform in the waterfall cavern. But unfortunately, I messed up because I'm fucking terrible at everything. And so I decided, hey, I should probably show off that entrance anyway. I'm going to go and open it normally. Now, you're going to want to, I recommend having a map for this section, or at least memorizing the turns that you took. Because there's not a whole lot of areas to get air in that section, so if you get lost, it's very possible to run out of air and suffocate. Thankfully, however, the entire section is all boxes, and they're set up in a sort of 3x3 grid-esque type thing. So, as long as you know that, it shouldn't be too hard to sort of work out how you're, where you are in the grand scheme of things and where you're supposed to be. Okay, I just love how he's, standing right there. Basically, I wasn't all the way on top of the warp pad, I was on, like, the little side area where the warp pad and the ground connect, and so but it was still close enough for me to use it, so he was just sort of standing on, like, a 20-degree angle to the side. I don't know, I found that pretty funny. Anywho, as you saw in the middle there were, like, feathers in the center of Mumbo's hut. I don't remember what exactly it was. There's usually power-ups in the middle of Mumbo's hut, like, usually things like, honeycombs, eggs, feathers, but sometimes you'll find, like, the Globo in there. Sometimes it's, like, there's even a Jinjo later on in the game. I think there's a golden honeycomb at some point. Basically, if you ever need collectibles, there's usually something right smack dab in the middle of Mumbo's hut, so make sure not to forget about him. I mean, you probably shouldn't forget about him anyway, because Mumbo's pretty fucking awesome, but whatever. Actually, you shouldn't forget about him, period, because he's the guy who helps you do things in the level. Like, he is necessary for 100% completion. Actually, I think he's pretty much necessary for completion, period. I mean, in order to beat the game, or at least beat the final boss in the game, you need to get 70 out of 90 Jiggies. Meaning that if you get all of the Jinjos at a level, so that's another 10, that's 10 Jiggies total. You need to get 70, 60 out of. You need to get 3/4 of all the Jiggies. Actually, you could probably skip every mission involved. No, wait, never mind. The 4th level, you pretty much need Mumbo in order to survive. So, yeah, you need it. You can't forget about Mumbo. Sorry if you don't like Mumbo all that much, but you know what? I guess it just sucks to be you. You're gonna have to put up with them. But generally, you only really ever need to use Mumbo for like 3 minutes in any given level anyway. He's not really good for exploration, though, but that's just something that's just generally about the game that I recommend. Don't explore as Mumbo or explore as the transformation unless you absolutely have to. Because, I mean, like, first off, Mumbo's running speed is kind of slow. I mean, his running speed is probably about the same as Banjo's, but seeing as you can't, like, do the whatever the move is where you can run on Kazooie's back, you can't do that as Mumbo. So, you know, moving around seems an awful lot slower. And his attack is kind of sucks, and he can't grab onto ledges, and he can't use any of the special moves, and yeah, Mumbo can pretty much only do the most basic of platforming. So really, I recommend finding any Mumbo pads in the level before even stepping foot into his hut. Because, you know, if you know exactly where to take Mumbo, you can it's a whole lot easier instead of running around as him trying to find what you're looking for. Generally, using warp pads is the only way to get Mumbo into certain situations anyway, so... yeah. Anyway, that train that we just levitated is going to be super important for later. But don't forget that there's also an empty honeycomb piece in that train station area. It's hidden in a box that you have to break. That's very easy to miss, that honeycomb piece. Like, I played the game, and it took me forever to find the last one, so... keep that in mind. That's a very, very easy honeycomb piece to miss the first time playing. So, just mostly because the box is in a section of a whole lot of other boxes that aren't interactable. So, keep an eye out for that. Basically, any box that has the Rareware symbol on it, that's breakable, and you can beat that up anytime you want. So, you don't have to worry. So, when you're looking at... I think that this is pretty much the only situation where you've got a box that's breakable like that. Or at least where they've got, like, background element boxes that don't look breakable, but then one of them in the area is breakable. Basically, they were trying to hide it from you. That's what I'm going to say. They were trying to hide that box from you, so... try not to, basically, keep an eye out on your surroundings, is basically what I'm saying, and... ow, I got crushed. Shit. What's funny, though, is that you can still use the beak barge even when you're in that squash down animation, so basically you're just sort of plowing Kazooie's flattened head against the button, which I find funny for some reason. Anywho, even though I got crushed, I didn't even take a lot of damage. I only took, I think, like, 1 honeycomb's worth of damage. Crushing damage is not very consistent in Banjo-Tooie. Some areas it'll take you, it'll take all but 1 health point off. Some areas like this it'll only take 1 honeycomb off. It's not incredibly consistent. Consistent, I should say. It's not incredibly consistent. Thankfully, however, you don't need to worry about health too much in this game. There are honeycombs all over the place. Later on, we'll be able to unlock some cheats that basically make combat in the game completely pointless because you don't have to worry about taking damage ever. But even in these early stages of the game, you shouldn't really have to worry too much about taking hits. I mean, you'll always have enough health. You'll pretty much just be fine no matter what, so don't worry too much about it. Anywho, this is a unique sort of Jiggy. Basically, we used Mumbo's levitate power to put that rock into the crushing shed, and then it got transformed into, and then it got shredded, and then the crushing shed crushed the rock, you know. But there was a Jiggy in there, and even though it broke apart the rock, it also broke apart the Jiggy inside it. So you need to find all 3 little mini pieces of the Jiggy in order to get it to count. When I first played the game, I found 2 of them, but I didn't find the 3rd one, so I was 1 Jiggy short in this level for a really long time until I accidentally ran into the Jiggy that I was looking for. That was pretty funny. Frustrating, but funny. Anyway, next part we're going to explore more of Glitter Gulch Mine. Yeah, I know, these recaps aren't very exciting. Anyway, I'm ExandShadow, and I'll see you guys later.